Hello, Professor. So today I'm going to be doing the Finding and Evaluating Web Sources assignment. So I decided to use Google search to find a resource for this assignment. So I went over here to Google search and I searched TED Talk with the Boolean operator and technology and help and student and create. And that gave me over 1 million different results. So in order to limit it, narrow it down a little bit for me, I actually just clicked on videos here because that's what I'm looking for specifically. And that limited it to 128,000 results. So that really cut it down quite a bit there. Looks like you got a few different options here. You got Chris Malin, technology, tool or toy, impact of technology on communication, the new 3 R's for education. So far, not really seeing anything that will really help me with my thesis statement. Wire screens make us less happy. And here's the one that I decided to use, which is by David Middlebeck. And it's called Reinventing Education for the Digital Age. Okay. So the reason why I chose this one was because it really focuses on technology and education, and how they work together to benefit the student. David Middlebeck does a really good job of explaining how technology is leaps and bounds ahead of our education and how they need to come together. So that's kind of why I liked this resource and why I chose it compared to the other ones. So we're just going to check out the author's credibility. David Middlebeck is the chairman of European nonprofit Tech Labs, which was founded by him to help hundreds of students learn coding skills through a 16-week program that has personal online learning, project work, and local community events. David studied info systems and artificial intelligence at Harvard University, and he also worked as a data scientist. So David is very credible as a resource. He worked in both the field of technology and in the field of education with his nonprofit Tech Labs, which is really beneficial if you're looking for a good resource with tons of credibility. David is definitely it. He's got all of the things that you would look for in a resource where he has experience in both fields. So that's why I really like David and found him to be a very credible source. And that kind of leads us into analyzing his credibility, or into analyzing his objectivity or bias in his video here. I believe that David did a good job of not being biased. He starts out by talking about how technology and education are on different levels. Since he did work as a data scientist, he talks about how he was all in on helping technology progress as fastly as it could, that he worked for many years trying to push technology and trying to find new ways that they could better technology. But he says he found it unfulfilling and that he realized the gap between the education system and technology was starting to grow, and as a result he wanted to start to bridge that gap between communication, or between technology, communication, and education. And I feel like that in itself showed that there was not a lot of bias in his analyzation, because he worked with both the data scientist, technology, and he also worked as an educator helping students understand technology and become better. The only time I would say that there would be some amount of bias is that David doesn't have a lot of experience in public education, which could be some concern for bias. But like I said, he does a very good job of showing both points of view and showing how to bridge that gap and sort of the struggles that might come with that. Moving right along, we're going to look at the publication date and the currency of it. So if you look here, this was published October of 2019. So really, it's very recent. We don't really have to worry too much about the publication date because 2019 is only 2 years away from 2021, and it was in October of 2019, so that's basically a year and a half ago. I wouldn't say that technology has changed significantly in that year and a half, so I think we're really good there on the publication date and currency of the article, or of the video. The site design, usability, I would say it's great. TEDx is very famous. You've got different things you can watch, recommend, discover, attend, participate, and of course you can search over here. It shows what inspires you. And then I like over here as well, watch next. It usually follows along the lines of what you've previously watched. There's not really a help button that I can see here, but for the most part, pretty user-friendly, pretty easy to navigate and find what you need on this website. So it is a very good design, very usable. And then we're just going to take the last few minutes and kind of analyze what we learned from this resource. So like I said, David does a good job at the beginning of explaining the gap between technology and education. He said that the way that we teach needs to evolve in order to keep up with technology. It needs to do a better job of evolving, or it will never keep up. He talks about the ways that he wants education to evolve by having a learning acceleration, blended learning, and personalization. The personalization is what I took most from it, which I thought was really interesting. He talks about how Amazon and Spotify and Instagram and all of these things have learned the art of personalization in technology. He says if it's so good at personalizing these things that we want to buy, we want to listen to, like the music we want to listen to, things we want to watch, why is it that we have not developed technology that personalizes education for us? Which honestly is a very good question, and I think that it definitely struck me that yes, we do need to personalize education for students, that if we have this technology, we should be using it to better our education, which is exactly what David has been doing with his School of Tech Labs. He said that he created a personalized experience for each of his students using technology and this personalization technology that they have, which basically each student is able to be taught on their own personal level in ways that help them best learn. So it was a very interesting video, and I'd recommend you watch it. It's pretty cool. And then he talks about using your community to help spread technology and education, that it develops a better sense of community, which was awesome as well. I feel like this really supported my thesis statement, and if there was any small change that I would make to it, just as a refresher, it was actually my research question is, how can technology help high school students be more creative and innovative? I think I would change that to, how can we use technology to help high school students be more creative? After watching this video, it's not how can it help, it's how can we use it to help. So that's how I would change it. But in the end, I think this is a great resource, great video, and it really helped me in developing my thesis statement or research question. So that's all I have for you. Thank you so much.